New York is an island surrounded by water. Now, with climate change, water is becoming a problem for the city's infrastructure, especially its immersed tunnels, the crucial connection to other boroughs. Geologist Klaus Jacob worries about the tunnels all the time. He has been monitoring climate data for decades. As the advisor for climate adaptation for the MTA, he knew in 2012 Hurricane Sandy would strike before it did.
All the blue tunnels here are the ones that we forecasted would flood during Sandy. And it takes only 40 minutes from the onset of the flood to that state to come to that.
The Hugh L. Carey Tunnel, known as Battery Tunnel, was the weakest link connecting the city to Brooklyn. During Hurricane Sandy, 2/3 of the tunnel became filled with water.
The storm surge came from the south, northward into Lower Manhattan, and then across Morris Street into the tunnel plaza, and that is how the tunnel flooded. Much of the water actually was pumped out of the tunnel from Governor's Island ventilation building. They brought the pumps in and stuck the hoses down and just started pumping the water out. I think there was an understanding that the tunnels could flood, but it was not taken as seriously as it might have been. And Sandy was definitely a wake-up call. We had numerous different consultants working with us, assessing the damage, coming up with preliminary designs to repair the damage. Essentially, we needed to build the wall higher, and we also needed to reinforce it to make it stronger. So the existing wall was simply, for the most part, a granite masonry wall. So we put a reinforced concrete wall outside it. This is our flood wall that was built around the Manhattan Blower Building. So this goes all the way around, creating essentially a protected perimeter around the entire Blower Building as well as the plaza.
Besides, through evaluating different kinds of flood barriers and floodgates, the 15,000-pound floodgate was the final solution they came up with. After taking the mission, it took Katie 4 months to design the gate.
And one big thing that we really needed to try to do was make them lighter. So a lot of times when you do just straight up like hand calculations, things can be a lot heavier than they need to be.
There is theory and there is practice. And yes, hopefully they will do the trick, but would it be 100% no water will come in? I don't think so.
It was time to put the gate to the test.
At the shop, we did do a demonstrator test on the first door called a hydrostatic test. And in that case, you actually build a tank in front of the door and pressurize it to the full design pressure. So there you're really demonstrating that the seals and the gate structurally can handle the load and that the seals are going to work the way they're supposed to under the full pressure. And the door did very well with that. In fact, we're allowed a certain amount of leakage based on the size of the door. And as I remember, it leaked almost zero.
So as a result, you will have some water penetration, but it will not be in any way great enough to create a problem.
However, with rising sea level, the entrance of the tunnel still has the possibility of being submerged. From Klaus's roof, he sees water creeping up already.
Go maybe, barely with this house inside, but also focus on the streets. On the current sea level conditions, by the end of the century, the water will be on the street all the time. There's no way you can drive a car there any time of the day.
In order to build a better system, the South Battery Park City Resiliency Project is now building a continuous flood barrier surrounding the tunnel.
We still can have tunnels in the future. If you engineer it right, no problem. But we have to have the foresight and the scientific understanding where the climate goes, where the sea level goes, where the flood zone goes, and how much rain comes down from the sky. Once we take all those things into account, it's just a matter of money.
On November 15, 2021, President Joe Biden signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill into law. How much will be contributed to the tunnel remains to be discussed. Today, engineers, scientists, designers, operators, and citizens have painted a picture of a city resilient to water damage. But when will the next superstorm engulf us?